Selamat pagi semua. Terima kasih Dr. Farhan untuk the kind introduction. Terima kasih sebab menjemput saya. Saya ucapkan kepada pihak UTM. Okay, so saya diberitahu yang hari ni talknya untuk students. Tapi saya tengok banyak staff yang dekat sini hari ni. Tak apa, it's okay. Mental health is for everybody. So everybody has mental health and it is for everybody. Itu hak asasi kita ya. So I rasa like we just continue sempoi-sempoi saja, just very chill. So sebab crowd is like quite okay, bearable. So kalau ada any questions along the way also, I rasa boleh tanya jugalah. Ya, kalau tak lepas kita habis the talk, we will open for question and answering. So saya start my talk dengan mind the mind. Okay, so everybody has mind. And our mind is very complex. Tak ada satu orang punya mind is sama, it's different. So itu merupakan tanggungjawab kita sendiri untuk our mind, take care of ourselves. Okay, let's go this. Alright, so topik yang sebenarnya diberi kepada saya ialah kesihatan mental versus penyakit mental. Okay, very interesting. Penyakit versus the kesihatan. Apa bezanya? Okay. So saya punya agenda ya hari ni. So we go by definition, jenis-jenis penyakit, dan saya big chunk of my talk hari ni saya akan fokus on macam mana nak take care of mental health. Saya rasa itu yang paling penting. Kita perlu ada knowledge on macam mana nak jaga kesihatan mental, then only kita boleh cegah penyakit mental. Alright, so actually kita ada students tak dekat sini? I just want to see how many students are here. Boleh angkat tangan? Student. Do we have students? Can I see some raise of hands? I see a few young people here. Students ke tu? Yang tu bukan students? Angkatlah tangan. It's okay. The talk is specifically for you guys. Alright, all students. And you can. Okay, you want to listen from there also boleh, kan? Okay, so whoever wants to join can just come inside and join. Okay, so awalnya I was quite nervous lah because students, our age gap is quite huge. I rasa you all are Gen Z, kan? Actually sebenarnya Gen Z ni sangat pandai. They already have answers to everything basically. What you want, what they need. Unlike saya punya generation, I'm from generation Y. So my generation is always why? Why is it happening? Why is it like that? Okay, alright. So never mind, I skip this slide. So I will go with definition first lah. Definisi mental health. Sebab once we understand what is mental health, so it is easier for us to basically it's basic understanding. So apa WHO cakap ialah it is kesejahteraan minda, wellness. Alright, kesejahteraan minda yang membolehkan seseorang untuk lead a normal life, a regular life, not to say normal, a regular life. So di mana setiap kita humans, right, kita tak boleh lari daripada tekanan hidup. It's always there. No matter kita punya hidup nampak betapa sempurna di mata orang, ataupun like no matter what lah, we are having a good study environment ke, good work environment, apa saja pun, we still have tekanan hidup. Mesti kita tak boleh lari. So when you have kesejahteraan yang minda yang cukup untuk kita menghadapi tekanan hidup dan menyedari potensi diri. So I want to ask everybody, potensi diri, adakah semua orang mempunyai potensi diri yang sama? Tidak. Yes, we don't have the same potensi. Sebab apa? Kita dilahirkan pada situasi, in certain condition yang berbeza. Mungkin seseorang tu bila membesar tu terpaksa fight for so many things. So dia punya potensi is different. Other person mungkin memang lahir tu dah ada semua. So it's different. So penting kita menyedari potensi diri supaya kita tahu apa yang kita boleh buat, apa yang kita belum mampu buat. And then membolehkan kita belajar dan bekerja dengan baik. Itu satu. And last not the least, bukan saja itu untuk diri kita sendiri tau. Bukan saja kita sihat, I'm happy, I can sleep, I can do this that. Tapi kita kena menyumbang kepada masyarakat juga. So menyumbang maksudnya membantu orang lain, membuatkan orang lain happy, mendapatkan kepercayaan dia orang. So it's also menyumbang kepada masyarakat. Okay, so kenapa penting? Sebab it is general well-being. Kita ada physical health dan mental health. You need to have both. Okay, so both have equal importance. Then itu merupakan, as I mentioned, itu adalah hak asasi kita. It is our rights to have a good mental health. Dan seterusnya untuk pembangunan negara lah. So generally students are pelapis negara lah kan. After this, mana tahu the students are the one is going to memimpin negara kita. So dari sekarang kena ada good mental health supaya dia akan membina kekentalan otak minda. So face all the struggles. So I want to mention that mental health is not mental disorder, ya. Mental health, katakanlah kita ada good mental health, doesn't mean kita tak ada penyakit mental. That's very important. Nanti saya jelaskan kenapa. So penyakit mental merupakan di mana when kita diagnose seseorang, bila doktor cakap orang ini mempunyai penyakit mental, itu bila terdapat gangguan dalam certain bahagian hidup kita lah. Number one is kita punya kognitif. So kognitif ini maksudnya is actually our thoughts, our pemikiran, di mana cognition ni penting. If you have good cognition, dapat fokus dengan baik, dapat belajar benda baru, alright, and then boleh berfikir secara relevant, logik. Dan juga basically it's like your how do you regulate you punya emosi, semua tu it depends on your cognitive function, pemikiran. Number two is bila ada kecelaruan dari segi pengawalan emosi. Then third is tingkah laku. So biasanya it's like this, when pemikiran kita terganggu, akan affect kita punya emosi. Ini semua berlaku dalaman. Bila ini dua terganggu, boleh nampak secara luaran melalui tingkah laku kita. Okay, so apa yang kita kalau tanya, kenapa saya ada sakit mental ni, kenapa orang ini ada sakit mental? So we usually divide into 3 parts lah: psychological, biological, dan perkembangan dari kecil. So perkembangan dari kecil ni maksudnya memang anak ni dah ada some delay. Kita usually we will relate to neurodevelopmental, kita panggil, contohnya ada autism atau ADHD, ataupun intellectually they are limited. Itu ialah perkembangan mental. Number 2 is biological. So anybody knows what are the biological factors? Boleh bagi contoh ke? Tak apalah, student kita tadi ada ramai sikit, sekarang diorang pun tak ada dah. Okay, never mind. I focus on all of you lah. Anybody knows like what biological component am I asking? Tak apa, saya saja dekat sini. Nak cuba ke? It's okay, we warm up dulu. Dr. Farah nak cakap ke? What are the biological components?
Gender lah, lelaki, perempuan.
Yes.
So biological yang kita ada biasanya, kalau tu kita kata genetik, lelaki, perempuan, lelaki ada perbezaan lah.
Few slide explain. Okay, you are right. Itu biological part of it lah. Gender, yes. Certain sakit mental ni maybe perempuan lebih cenderung dapat, certain lelaki. Selain daripada itu, kita ada sometimes kesihatan fizikal pun boleh menyumbang kepada mental disorders, like got any masalah hormon like thyroid, all those things can. And then kalau tak ada physical health issues, it's purely mental health bila kita punya certain hormon dalam otak kita yang tidak ada ketidakseimbangan. Contohnya serotonin, dopamin. So these are all very important hormon dekat otak kita yang menyumbang kepada kesejahteraan minda. Then is psychological is tekanan hidup lah, tekanan, stres, your coping skills and so on. Okay, so I think my slide lari sikit. Alright. So penyakit mental. So if let's say someone has mental disorder kan, so what if we have? So kalau kita compare with like let's say someone is having diabetes. Diabetes tak nampak pun, so what? I ambil ubat je. It's okay. How do you think that sakit mental is going to affect? So actually itulah I said human brain is very complex. It's very difficult to to tetapkan my mind should fikir macam ini, my mind should react macam ni. It's very difficult. So what happens is bila ada mental disorder, what we worried is tekanan emosi yang ketara sampai kita tak boleh nak control. Number 2, bila fungsi harian terganggu. Fungsi harian maksudnya pergi ke kelas, fokus dekat tempat kelas, tak dapat nak ingat, and then ada masalah dengan keluarga atau kawan-kawan. So disebabkan oleh gangguan kecelaran emosi, all the other factors are affected. And the last thing that we are very worried, sangat risau, ialah risiko untuk mencederakan diri ataupun nak tamatkan hidup. That is the most severe thing that we are very worried. Okay, so this one. So I bagi analogy lah. Mental health is like physical fitness, and mental illness is like diabetes. So someone who has diabetes, they can be very fit. Boleh lari 10 km sehari. They are very strong. They look good. So that is how it is. So physical fitness, tapi fit, tetapi boleh ada sakit juga. Sama juga mental health is our state of mind, and mental illness is part itu satu faktor yang boleh mengganggu kesejahteraan minda. So mental health everybody has it, mental illness not everybody has it. Mental health dia boleh fluctuate. Kalau sesuatu yang tidak not nice, benda yang tidak comel berlaku, and then kita rasa stress, then after that it gets better, we will be better also. Mental illness ni something kita doktor lah, clinically kita kena diagnose, right? And important point, mental health ni can be very poor, boleh terkesan is affected even though tak ada mental illness. Tetapi mental our mental health can be strong even though ada illness. So even though some of our patients yang ada depression, anxiety, sama like benda-benda yang macam sangat menyukarkan hidup mereka, contoh macam OCD, schizophrenia, they can still have a good mental health actually. They can still handle crisis, day-to-day crisis. Their family is still harmonious. They can handle. Okay, so antara penyakit mental yang kita sering temui ataupun we always find in our social media and so on is, selalu kita tengok depression, kemurungan, anxiety. So very trending now is bipolar, schizophrenia, and other gejala-gejala seperti ini is trauma related lah, PTSD, obsessive compulsive disorder dan seterusnya. So kalau nak faham lebih lanjut lah kan, actually a lot of movies and dramas is available currently, which I rasa diorang telah mengambil banyak usaha. They put a lot of effort in trying to understand how exactly the person feels. So I rasa antara these are the some movies that I have watched and I feel like sangat-sangat relatable. So I don't know anybody has watched this or not. Words on Bathroom Wall. So this is about a student, high school student yang baru diagnosed with schizophrenia and he's on medication. Tapi itulah benda yang kita tak nampak, kita tak nak, susah kita nak accept kan. So it is something berlaku dekat kepala kita. Kalau orang cakap you have schizophrenia. Schizophrenia is a major mental illness, it's a severe mental illness. Tapi I tak nampak, so susah nak terima. So sama juga watak dalam cerita ni, dia belum ada the awareness. And waktu dia tak sihat, dia cannot remember bila dah sihat. So this guy had to go back to school, and how it was very difficult for him waktu-waktu yang dia stop ubat, macam mana dia affect dia punya academic and relationship. And towards the end of the movie, dia akan cerita how he felt, lived experience dia. It's quite sad lah. This movie is quite nice. And then A Beautiful Mind is quite old movie juga. It's about this is true story about this Professor John Nash yang got schizophrenia, and he's a professor, and how he learned to live with schizophrenia. And then Inside Out, you all know lah, it's all about emotions, which is very relatable. And then Starter Island also very, very fun juga. It's a very nice show of schizophrenia juga, Leonardo DiCaprio's one. And then this is Korean drama. Who watches Korean drama? Ada tak? Tipu kalau tak sampai watch kan. God, okay. So anybody have watched Daily Dose of Sunshine? Anybody go watch? I think you should watch lah. You should watch. Sebab I rasa this one, I rasa they have put so much of effort. Betul-betul tunjuk the psychiatry ward setting, how the staff deal with patients, as macam bila dia orang agresif ke, they are suicidal, and they also show the staff punya point of view also. And each episode dia orang pilih satu penyakit. It's very nice. And then Misteri Mona is our local movie. It's a local show. It's a drama. It's also very nice. I watched it and it's nice. Okay. So next go to, okay, so as I mentioned, saya akan fokus kepada kesihatan mental yang baik. Sebab I rasa no point saya cakap pasal penyakit mental, cakap pasal apa gejala-gejala sakit mental, apa nak buat, kalau kita tak ada basic knowledge on macam mana nak jaga kesihatan mental. I think itu yang penting saya rasa. Okay, so first we go to, bila kita ada kesihatan mental yang baik, kita akan selesa dengan diri sendiri. We will be happy with our self. Satu, kita akan menghargai diri. Itu very important. I mean, I'm not saying lah, kita tak mungkin kita tak pernah rasa, alah saya ni teruknya saya, why am I like this? Pernah tak orang rasa sebegitu? Ada kan? Even I also feel like that most of the time also. Tapi bila kita ada that minda yang strong enough kan, kita boleh menghargai diri, kita boleh nampak apa yang positif pada diri kita daripada terus zoom into what other negative aspects that we have. Number 2, being realistic, dan ini yang paling penting mampu menerima kegagalan. So there is no way that we can win all the time. No way. Memang there's a pertandingan means 10 orang lari, memang seorang saja yang boleh menang. Yang lain semua memang dapat tempat yang seterusnya. Tapi it's important untuk kita menerima. It's okay. What we want kita tak dapat, it is okay. And how kita nak handle itu sangat penting. Dan menangani emosi dan satisfied with what we have. Okay. Seperti kucing ini. Okay. Number 2 is selesa dengan orang lain. So 2 orang So maksudnya rasa you can live in that society together with others. Kita boleh sayang diri sendiri dan juga sayang orang lain. So it's also very important. Number 3 is dapat menangani cabaran-cabaran hidup. So this is actually, ini perlukan a set of skills, perlukan kemahiran, which nanti I'll later teach. I mean, that's very briefly inform So, okay, before this, I nak tanya a few students here. Besides staff kan, sekejap je, don't worry, okay? Nanti I will ask your lecturers to give extra points ke, like something for you all. Okay, tell me, apa cabaran-cabaran hidup you all? Just 5, 5 orang kan? 5 of you all, tell me 5 things. It can be anything, jangan rasa, mungkin ini bukan cabaran untuk orang lain, tapi apa yang, what is you punya kesusahan, hanya you yang tahu. Okay, so you tell me. Okay. Dah lah, mesti lah. Okay, start from that side lah. Just tell one. You just tell the title lah. Like apa cabaran for you? Sering dihadapi oleh pelajar lah. Apa dia? Toxic circle. Okay, next.
Time management.
Very good, time management. Pelajaran susah ke? Anything? No, not pertaining you, tapi anybody can have it. Cabaran yang dihadapi oleh pelajar.
Nak pastikan kita punya mindset selalu stable lah.
Yes, I totally, I relate to you. I boleh relate dengan you. Okay, sama lagi.
Lulusan kembali.
Yes. Yes.
Transportation.
Apa dia?
Transport.
Transport. Yes. Memang ini semua cabaran. Yes. Ya, betul. I totally agree with you. And then you all covered basically. So issues, so that one is cabaran. So usually the issues is stress reaction. So whatever that you mention ni memang it can cause stress. Masalah penyesuaian, adjustment disorder, burnout, kemurungan, anxiety. Ini semua issues. So whatever that you mention is all the stress that you hadapi, is the tekanan hidup, tekanan. Okay. So I'll go a bit. So stress. So who feels stress ni something yang abnormal? Abnormal means tidak normal. Siapa rasa budak-budak kat belakang tu? You tengah buat assignment ke? Okay. Who feels stress is something not normal? Dr. Adni? Stress ni normal ke? Normal. Okay. So actually, stress is a natural thing. It will happen. So kita sebagai human, it is only natural for us to have stress. Not once, not twice, it's all the time. Okay, alright. So stress is a natural response kepada sesuatu situasi ataupun kepada sesuatu perubahan. So katakan you tukar SEM from dah habis first SEM, you pergi ke second SEM. It's a stress juga. So it's new syllabus, kelas baru, mungkin you akan ada kawan-kawan baru, mungkin kawan-kawan yang ada tu dah tinggal. So it is change, boleh menyebabkan stress. Mungkin lecturer tukar. So stress is normal part of life. Okay, so itu bukan musuh kita ya, tetapi cara macam mana kita nak hadapi tu sangat penting. Okay, so nama this one is the thing. Okay, so gejala-gejala fizikal So sebelum ni today morning I was quite stressed honestly, sebab datang sini di setempat baru kan, tak pernah saya datang dekat sini, tak pernah I tengok dewan, I don't know siapa audience saya. So today morning dah 2 kali dah saya pergi toilet, sakit perut, jantung saya berdegup laju. I turun dekat kereta pun I was like, boleh ke, tak boleh ke, so nervous. So it is a normal stress reaction. You can see that is your physical, how it affects lah. So malam tadi I bangun pun I fikir pasal hari ini. So these are all physical symptoms. Alright. So kalau you guys waktu exam ke apa ada gejala-gejala macam ni, don't be so alarmed, don't be so worried. It will happen. It's a natural, normal stress reaction. Dan gejala-gejala emosi, boleh cepat marah. Siapa yang waktu-waktu exam ni cepat marah? Ada tak? Saya ada. I got habis. My husband, my anak semua kena marah. Cannot talk. Ada So you get very agitated, feel bad. Maybe you rasa like, ayo boleh ke saya buat ni? Ayo, walaupun saya study ni macam tak ingat, kawan saya boleh ingat. So you feel bad about yourself. It's something normal. Trying to avoid, rasa overwhelmed sangat, difficult to relax. All this is gejala-gejala emosi. It's a normal stress reaction. So for those who miss, awal-awal I letak gambar Google. So usually kan siapa selalu Google apa segejala-gejala dia? What are the symptoms? Tak ada So you all don't Google TikTok. Oh, ChatGPT. Okay. Yes. I forgot again. You all Gen Z. Yeah. ChatGPT, yes. Okay, y'all ChatGPT kan. Okay, I totally agree. So, but then sometimes kan, this ChatGPT, I think it's still cleverer than Google kan. Okay, so sometimes what happens is when you say, okay, saya kata, kenapa saya rasa down sangat? Why am I feeling so down today? You tanya macam tu, terus ChatGPT kata, oh, thank you for letting me know how you feel. I think you should look into, maybe this is depression, maybe this is bipolar mood disorder. Habis. You jadi lagi gelisah. So sometimes it can be a normal stress reaction. Sebenarnya waktu tu mungkin you just penat lepas buat assignment, ataupun your lecturer baru bagi tahu, oh, your deadline is this particular date. So you rasa macam letih already, ataupun you receive call from your family dekat kampung, somebody tak sihat. So all these things you need to think boleh menyebabkan you rasa penat. So probably it's something a day-to-day thing that you are going through, may not be a major mental health issues. Okay, so normal stress boleh berlaku dalam jangka masa yang pendek dan akan kembali kepada normal setelah dapat beradaptasi. So that's why people say time heals. Okay, so as time goes, you akan boleh menyesuaikan diri. So we are humans ni, kita beza sebab Tuhan cipta kita in that way. Along the way kita akan develop this adapting skills. So like how you all mentioned kan, so studies, financial, someone mentioned financial, betul, I agree. And then time management, you got mentioned, family issues, relationship issues, breakup. You all never mentioned breakup, love issues. I mean, it's very normal lah. It's very normal for you to, when you are at the age, memang you will start liking people. You want this, orang notice you, to be liked, to be loved. It is something very, very normal. And bila you tak dapat, memang akan rasa stress, akan rasa risau. It's normal, Okay, so what I nak highlight is, kita ada beberapa jenis stress, okay? Positive, tolerable and toxic. Okay. So, positive stress is something jangka masa pendek. This is the normal stress reaction lah. So, you ada exam, memang akan rasa stress. Ataupun tiba-tiba you dapat, oh, hari ni ada quiz, sudden quiz, you feel stress. Tapi after finish it, you're okay already. So, you can go back, selera makan kembali seperti biasa. You pergi makan together with friends as usual and everything. It's normal stress. Positive lah. Tolerable stress is something that lebih lama, maybe more heavier. Contohnya, katakan gagal exam ke, ataupun what else cabaran you all ni, job loss, or breakup. All these things is tolerable. You boleh menangani stres ini dengan support. So ada kawan-kawan yang boleh support, ataupun you got family who support, your lecturers. When you have some support, you can still go through. Toxic stress is you ada multiple stress at the same time, heavy, and you got no support. So that becomes a toxic stress. So dia akan continuous, dia tak akan turun. Okay, next. Okay, I suka tunjuk this curve. Alright, so macam saya mention kan, stress is a normal reaction and hidup kita we need to have that stress. Kalau tidak, okay, so you see, when there's low level of stress, not only you lah, I also, all of us become very relaxed. There's nothing to do. I tak risau. Oh, exam next week. Tak apa, I tak risau. Okay je. So, got no motivation. Tak belajar pun tak apa. So, you don't have that drive. So, you punya productivity, alamak, sekejap. So, the performance, the productivity is very low. Okay? So, you need to have certain a certain level of stress dekat sini, optimal stress yang secukupnya, so that you can be productive, motivated, focused. Okay, this is the best part lah. But kita perlu ingat juga, waktu kita nak sampai too much, it's too much for us to handle, because our performance akan kurang. So when there is high stress level, baru akan ada the burnout, anxiety, then this one all breakdown lah. Once breakdown, it's going to a disorder. So important how we want to maintain ourselves dekat sini. So okay, so now I go to macam mana nak handle, how to take care of your mental health. So number one is penjagaan diri. So maybe I'll ask the lecturers, how you all jaga diri sendiri how what do you all do? I walk I boleh jalan kan? Boleh. Oh, what do you all do? Okay. Everybody avoiding eye contact ke? Exercise. Lagi? Anybody else? Penjagaan diri, it's very specific untuk diri sendiri. Very personal. Yours, maybe apa yang works for you doesn't work for other people, but apa lagi? Cukup tidur. Yes, I agree with you. Time management, me time. Yeah, basically that lah. Basically that actually. Apa Zeus Apa Zeus coffee? I heard at Zeus coffee. Actually coffee also lah. Like, you know, you want to relax yourself. Why not? Okay. So why you need to jaga diri sendiri is you will be able to handle stress, improve resilience, kekentalan minda, dan to some extent dia akan prevent gejala-gejala kesihatan mental. So self care is important supaya nombor satu, kurangkan masalah kesihatan. Very important. So normal stress is good, tapi over stress is not good, tidak baik, sebab badan kita ada satu jenis hormon yang kita panggil kortisol. So kortisol ni benda yang sangat-sangat very bad lah actually. I hate cortisol sebab this cortisol yang menyebabkan banyak kesihatan, masalah kesihatan, not only mental health issues, physical juga. So bila kortisol tinggi, dia akan affect semua organ dekat badan. Tiba-tiba ada masalah jantung, tiba-tiba ada masalah thyroid. It is a very bad thing. So stress management is very important. So untuk kurangkan masalah kesihatan, and then masalah kesihatan mental in general, dia jimat duit, and juga you have some certain control of yourself, your life. So penjagaan diri ni you boleh buat dengan ataupun tanpa sokongan healthcare workers, tanpa doctors, counselors, psychologists. Okay, so jenis-jenis penjagaan saya divide into physical, emosi, social, kerohanian. So banyak actually cara, a lot. So pilih sahaja apa yang works best for you. Okay, so physical. So sometimes we take for granted lah. Benda yang kita buat selalu, kita tak fokus, kita tak mindful. So actually setiap hari kita makan, setiap hari kita berjalan. So ini semua benda yang penting. Macam mana nak jaga fokus more. So bila makan tu, okay, apa saya nak pilih untuk makanan saya, bagaimana saya nak makan. So it's all self-care. Saya nak bersenam, apa yang I like. Maybe I suka berjalan. Ada orang mungkin saya suka buat pilates. I like aerobics. So choose what you want. Cuba sesuaikan dengan diri. So kebersihan diri. So not looking, okay, hari ni I want to wear like this. So it makes me feel good. So it is all part of penjagaan diri sebenarnya. So tidur, rehat, all you mentioned. Then you can go for a holiday, take a break. Like after you study for like 5 days, ni satu hari ni I want to take a break. It is okay kalau you rasa nak just pergi jalan, ataupun satu hari tu you just want to wake up, sleep, makan, see something and sleep. It's okay, it's a break. But make sure dalam quantity yang adequate lah, not overdo it. And then self-reflection, nanti saya akan cerita juga. Kadang-kadang actually you dah buat banyak, you have already done so many good things, you have done so many benda yang produktif, tetapi otak kita macam tu lah, dia lupa nak iktiraf. Actually hari ni you dah bangun, dah gosok gigi, you dah pergi kelas. It's actually a big thing already, you have gone to class. So why not? Okay, bagi iktiraf. Okay, very good, I have gone to class. You have attended the studies, dengar lecture oleh pensyarah. So it's a good thing. So you small things tu memang kena acknowledge. Then social, your friends, your family. Then kerohanian is spiritual. Okay. Alright, so pursue a hobby. Choose a hobby lah, what you like to do. Anything. So just simply like, this is out of topic lah. So a few days ago, I ada pergi ke this one of my college lecturer. He's already 80 years old, sudah 80 tahun. So pergi rumah dia ada almost like 300 to 400 lampu. You know lampu daripada zaman dulu kan, we carry like this. A lot of lampu lilin, the lampu minyak, kerosina, all this kind of lampu, dia banyak, dia gantung dekat rumah dia, so many. Lepas tu one side I tengok dia ada jam banyak, from cuckoo clock to the ding dong clock, banyak. Then I realise itu hobi dia. So those days kan dia orang tak ada handphone, tak ada social media, so how they spend time is by collecting this kind of things, you know. Tapi sekarang we are always on the phone. Ada masa je we want to look at the phone. So you see how time has changed. So I'm just telling you lah, pick a hobby which will actually keep you going. Alright, ini okay, sleep hygiene. This is very important. Somebody mention nak cukup tidur kan. Cukup tidur saja tak penting, tidur kena quality. So bila bangun tidur, kita kena rasa kita telah rehat. You need to feel that. No point tidur ataupun baring atas katil 8 jam, akhirnya bangun you still feel tired. There's no point. So untuk orang-orang yang ada masalah tidur, they have difficulty in sleeping, so probably you can practice this. Satu ialah regular time, waktu tidur yang rutin dan sama. Okay, itu satu. Dan sleep environment. So pastikan katil nak tidur tu, your bed hanya untuk tidur sahaja. Jangan belajar atas katil, ataupun jangan makan, jangan tengok Netflix, nothing. The bed is only for you to sleep. Kalau you have the if you have the luxury of it lah. Kalau bilik you ada table dan katil saja, nothing much can be done. But katil hanya untuk tidur, supaya otak dah condition, tengok katil nak tidur. Alright, and then I don't know how much is this doable. Sebelum tidur pastikan lampu semua dah dim, no phone, because otak kita ni akan rasa when you look at phone kan, dia cerah. So otak kita akan rasa itu masih siang. So otak tak akan tidur kalau dia tak malam. If it is not dark, dia takkan tidur. So that's why the longer you are on the phone, the longer the brain will feel that it's still daytime. I don't want to sleep. Dia akan stay alert. Okay. And then try not to drink coffee berapa jam sebelum tidur. And then try to do some relaxation technique sebelum tidur. And exercise boleh buat, tapi jangan buat terlampau dekat dengan waktu tidur. Awal sikit, pukul 6, pukul 5, 6, 7 macam tu should be lah. Sebab bila kita exercise kan kita refresh, kita alert. So for some people akan mengganggu tidur. Okay, next we go. So makanan, make sure this is very important, healthy diet. And then you exercise. Alright, so penjagaan dalam krisis. Okay, so this is a difficult thing lah. I mean, saya bagi duduk dekat sini bercakap, tapi I also have difficulty untuk manage crisis. So management of crisis ni ialah satu skills along the way. Betul. Kenapa tu tadi? Why? Nak cakap anything ke? Any opinion? So it's along the way lah. Sebab kita every time mungkin pada zaman muda, when we are younger, cara kita nak handle crisis mungkin tidak not as mature as maybe you're older. Tapi itu ialah latihan. It's what life is giving you. So one by one, kita belajar macam mana nak handle crisis. Alright? Sebab crisis is always will throw you off track kan. Sebab waktu tu you kena jaga emosi diri sendiri. Waktu tu kena make sure emosi orang lain pun terjaga juga. And then all those things lah. So I will use concept ABC on how to take care, how to be this one. Satu ialah awareness. So number one, you have to acknowledge. You kena terima dulu. Okay, I am feeling stress right now. Stress, I rasa gelisah, I rasa marah. Mengakui perasaan itu itself is very great already. Sangat penting kita mengakui apa yang kita rasa dan kesiankan diri sendiri. Alamak, saya rasa sebegini. This is how I'm feeling now. Sangat penting untuk aware dan mengakuinya. Kemudian, be for balance. So, take a break. Step back. Ambil masa sikit untuk recharge. So, waktu tu, penjagaan diri sangat penting. So, maybe that you want to establish a routine. Saya nak relax myself dulu. Do all your penjagaan diri first. Then number 3, look for help. Look for connection. So connection. So you can look for help. Kalau you rasa waktu tu that crisis you tak boleh handle, look for help. Nothing wrong looking for help. Lepas tu after the crisis dah settle apa semua, lihat belakang what happened, reflect. So, aware, accept, feel. Lepas tu paling penting that all of us don't want to do is maafkan diri sendiri. Something happen to ourselves, tak apalah berlaku. You overcome, it is okay. Forgive yourself, it is okay. Kalau katakan you dah termarah you punya kawan, tak apa. Then after a while, it's okay. I'm very sorry to myself sebab my emosi became like that. Then you can move on. You can do what you can do to rectify the situation. Okay, so this is a skill that I always teach all my patients dan juga untuk diri saya juga. When you have a crisis, emosi you sangat tinggi, very intense, stop. Whatever we are doing, stop. So stop, take a step back ke belakang. Kalau katakan dekat classroom you tengah marah, you can go out. Ataupun dekat bilik you tengah marah, you can go out. Anywhere, take a break and then observe. Macam saya katakan, aware. Observe what is happening kepada emosi. Apakah gejala-gejala emosi waktu tu dan apa gejala-gejala fizikal waktu tu. You rasa jantung saya berdebar laju, tangan saya menggeletar, gigi saya tergetar-getar. So you observe all these things. Kemudian bila you observe all these things itself akan menenangkan kamu. Then only you decide what to do next. Ataupun the tip skill ini ialah untuk the good thing is kita manusia ada 5 deria yang kita boleh pakai. So bila ada perubahan dekat our sensory organs, bila ada perubahan dari segi, usually the paling senang is cold water, kita punya temperature lah. So you can either take a hot bath or a cold bath, dia akan berubah. So it's very relatable if certain people dia tend to self harm, ya. Kalau biasanya that is what they are trying to do lah. Orang yang self harm, cederakan diri tu, they want to express dia punya emosi, they want to feel the pain, so they want to feel, they activate the deria rasa, the deria apa ya, deria sakit tu. So it's very similar lah to it. And then probably you can do something high intensity exercise. So I see like certain dramas, maybe like again relate back to Korean dramas. So I always see they always go for a run, selalu pergi lari. So and even I think some Western shows also they will show when they are angry ke apa, they terus pasang sports shoe and they run. So it is a high intensity exercise. So when we do exercise, any idea hormon apa yang kalau dirembeskan oleh otak kita? Anyone? Yes, terima kasih Dr. Farhan. Dopamine. Okay, so dopamine is considered happy hormone. Di samping dopamine is endorphins. Endorphin it's a kind of morphine di mana dirembeskan oleh badan kita sendiri. So that's why you see some people kan, they're like fitness junkies, they're gym junkies. Yo, no matter what happens that day, I nak pergi exercise, I nak pergi main. Sebab apa? Bila dah badan kita rembeskan that hormone secara berterusan, they get the good feel of it. You don't get the good feel, you sort of like addicted to it lah kan. So that's why you feel like, that's why some people yang continuously exercise, they don't want to miss that exercise. So it's something that kita boleh cuba. Third is breathing exercise. Nanti kita akan buat No problem. Okay, so this one problem solving skills. This is very very important. We'll go through this. Okay, so faktor yang mempengaruhi membuat keputusan. So siapa yang ada problem in making decision? Anybody got no? Ada tak masalah untuk buat keputusan? Perempuan tolong. Sedih. Everybody got. Okay. Everybody got. I hari ni nak makan nasi lemak ke nak makan roti canai?
Pakai baju apa? Nak pakai baju apa?
Yes. Nak pakai baju apa hari ni? Hari ni, okay, exam nak dekat. Saya nak belajar yang mana dulu? Saya nak belajar ini ke itu? Ataupun saya kena habiskan assignment ini dulu ke itu dulu? Saya kena buat pagi ke petang? All this perlukan kita buat keputusan. And believe it or not, decision making can cause we call it fatigue. Right? Kita dari pagi kita nak buat make decision. It is very very tiring. Yeah. Memang very tiring lah. I cannot like emphasize how stressful is that. Okay, so faktor yang mempengaruhi is our own fikiran and emosi. So sometimes kita selalu tengok kepada benda negatif je. So bila we are so focused on benda negatif, macam I tak cukup pandai, I tak cukup yakin, so you actually forget the good qualities in yourself. Alright. Number 2 is social, tekanan social. And then rakan sebaya. Rakan sebaya is sangat-sangat penting. So choosing your friends wisely is also very important. Sebab not only your age tau, my age, our elderly punya, our parents, semua ada rakan sebaya kan. So how they choose dia punya kawan-kawan penting. Cara pemikiran kawan kita boleh mempengaruhi kita juga. Last but not the least is media. Media is media, a lot of things, very unfiltered things. Sometimes daripada sumber yang tidak sahih, kurang tepat. All this also plays role. So kita kena pandai, kita kena bijak bila kita when we want to make decision. So how we want to make decision? Make sure our emotions are stable waktu tu. Libatkan kalau rasa perlukan pertolongan dari awal. If let's say students you need, okay, I think I need to get my lecturer punya input, awal-awal go and ask your counselor. I think they are here to help. I try to get help as early as possible. Discussion dengan orang yang kamu percaya, you rasa ada niat baik pada you, and then come up with few cadangan lah what you want to do. See pro and con, and put all your options available. So I usually teach like this ideal. I use this technique. So because buat keputusan it's very difficult, suddenly buat keputusan serabut otak. So if you have something that step, it will be easier. Number one is to identify apa masalah saya hari ini. Okay, hari ini nak bawa payung ke tidak? So that is my problem. So number two, you look into the pilihan yang ada. Saya bawa, tidak bawa. So hari ni, so probably you can look, okay, I want to look at the weather. Hari ni akan hujan ke tidak? So these are all like you describe that tu problem dan sekelilingnya. What is the connected factors? Lepas tu nilai kebaikan dan kelemahan. Kalau saya bawa berat, kalau saya tak bawa hujan. So you see, so should I bring or not? Dan bertindak berdasarkan pilihan yang terbaik. Dan tak apa, at the end of the day you decide saya tak nak bawa payung and then memang hujan. It's okay. The next time you learn, you reflect back. Alright, so buat senarai. So okay, buat baik buruk. Then I like to go for where's my tak apa my priority matrix dah hilang. Okay, so you always look back the effects of the strategy, then learn from experience. Tidak apa, kita semua belajar. We are not perfect. Okay, next is pengurusan masa. Somebody mentioned about pengurusan masa, right? Yes. So pengurusan masa, I totally agree. Bukan sahaja you students tau. Bila dah makin besar pun kita ada masalah dari segi pengurusan masa. Pukul berapa nak pergi kerja, habis kerja nak balik, macam nak uruskan anak-anak. So when should I go and like go exercise, when I nak kena masak. Pengurusan masa is always an issue at every stage of life. Tapi every stage kita we improve ourselves, we learn new skills. So kita ada banyak benda kan. Ini ialah antara tanggungjawab kita, tapi kita ada banyak tanggungjawab lain. Ini belum lagi kecemasan, benda-benda kecemasan masuk. So sikap membuang masa why? It's always kita takut gagal, takut kita salah buat. It's actually number one is that lah. That's the main thing. Number two is kita tak tahu macam mana nak buat. Itu lagi satu. Alright, just keep here. And then pengurusan masa. So again lah, same thing only. That's the one. So you can do this pembahagian masa. So even though saya ada banyak macam tuliskan, actually kan menulis and listing down boleh membantu kita organize our thoughts. Sebab otak kita is like a macam wire yang connecting here, connecting there, connecting here. So sometimes it's very difficult, serabut. So bila kita tulis ataupun now you have phone, just list down. It makes a lot of difference. Alright? So apakah aktiviti-aktiviti seharian yang kamu perlu lakukan? So kadang-kadang iron baju is something big. For Dr. Farhan it's not an issue. So for him ironing baju is something that he enjoys every day. Ada orang tak suka. So kalau you tak suka, put it as one of your task. And berapa masa you nak luangkan. So kadang-kadang iron baju 5 minit je. So when you see it like that on the table, alah 5 minit je tu. But if inside lepas ni kena iron baju, lepas ni kena iron baju, it looks like it's a very big activity. Okay, so this is my priority matrix. So you boleh lukis macam ini. Bahagian ini ialah betapa penting, sebelah sini ialah how urgent, how fast I kena buat. So yang macam merah ni is penting dan segera. Like contohnya, you kena habiskan assignment. It is sangat penting, it is benda segera, you do first. Number 2 is extracurricular activities. Benda tu penting tapi mungkin tidak perlu buat dengan segera, so you do next. Aktiviti yang kurang penting tapi segera, mungkin you like contohnya laundry. So maybe you tak buat, you hantar kepada Dobi ke, atau you kumpul sampai balik kampung basuh ke, you can make some changes. So benda yang kurang penting dan tak segera, tak payah buat. Okay. Alright, so apa-apa yang you perlu buat immediately within 2 days, itu ialah urgent. So you can susun ikut keutamaannya. And then this is communication skills, very fast I go. So kita very often we have issues is when we try to communicate. Kadang-kadang kita punya komunikasi yang tidak efektif yang menyebabkan banyak masalah. So you have to make sure that apa yang kita cuba sampaikan dengan cara yang berkesan, supaya boleh difahami oleh orang lain, boleh dapat kepercayaan orang lain dan tidak mengguris perasaan. So that skills need to learn. Okay, so I just keep okay, that is motion. So finally is relaxation technique. This is very important. Later we will just go through very briefly. So we have deep breathing exercise. Anybody pernah dengar ke deep breathing exercise? Teknik pernafasan. Okay, never mind, we'll do it later. So it's basically breathing. Tapi benda ni you kena belajar dia punya kemahiran dan buat setiap hari, supaya when there is a crisis you can actually use it. Number 2 is muscle relaxation. Okay, so then this is mindfulness technique. Okay, so any idea bila, okay, this tadi saya cakap semua tu is normal reaction, how you want to take care. Tapi any idea bila nak seek for professional help? Anybody want to tell? Saya cakap je lah, I just say. So you want to get help sekiranya gejala-gejala ni melarat, it's too long, dan as I said, dia mengganggu kehidupan seharian, your studies, your relationship, kerja, apa sahajalah your daily life. Kalau dia mengganggu, you need help. Kalau you dah start seseorang tu start isolating, tak nak bergaul dengan orang, suka nak kawal emosi, cepat marah, buang barang, menangis tanpa sebab, it's very difficult to control emosi, dan ada fikiran untuk menyakiti diri, self harm, ataupun ada perasaan nak tamatkan hidup. And then kalau start start getting involved in drugs, awalnya memanglah like I just want to relax, I want to vape, or I want to drink alcohol, I just want to this and that, tapi along the way it can cause ketagihan. And then orang lain pun perasan, something different lah kamu ni, they already see changes in you, then memang you need to get help. So for how to get professional help, so ini I rasa ramai orang tidak tahu, but if in your uni, I think Dr. Farhan just mentioned, you have an established clinic, you have doctors, ada pegawai perubatan, ada penolong pegawai perubatan, ada nurse, semua, you can approach them. Kalau you don't want to approach pihak uni, you can go to any klinik kesihatan to get help, ataupun apa-apa klinik swasta pun boleh dapatkan rawatan awal. Okay, this is screening, rawatan awal. So kebanyakan kita punya clinics, KK, klinik kesihatan, our clinic in UTM, all they can manage to some extent, kecuali dia rasa okay, ni ialah kes yang lebih serius, perlukan rawatan doktor bakar, then they will refer to hospital lah. This psychiatry assessment hanya dekat hospital. I mean it's in hospital. Then from there on kita akan buat assessment, penilaian, dan kita akan bagi rawatan yang sepatutnya. So ini ialah katakan belum, it's not that serious, but you need help in terms of crisis intervention. So you can get help from these places. So Talian Hill is our National Centre of Excellence. Ini Malaysia punya center. So there is staff. They are quite trained staff. It's always there to answer your call. Kalau katakan you want someone untuk dengar ataupun give some simple advices, they can help. So Talian Hill, Kasih, befrienders, mainly if rasa nak cederakan diri macam tu, they can help. And then Miasa Malaysia. So all this, actually there is a lot of these bodies lah who can help. Okay. Alright, I think itu sajalah. Alright, okay, I'm done already. So maybe I'll open. Got some quiz, is it, Dr. Farhan? Got it. Okay. So maybe there's some quiz. They have this one arranged. So we do that. It's a fun thing only lah. Nothing's very fun. Lepas tu we will go open for Q&A. So whatever questions you want to ask, you can ask, or you want to approach me later pun boleh juga. Okay. Okay, saya tutup Let's leave it here.
Tim top. Tim PP semuanya.
Untuk yang ni quiz, boleh scan lepas tu jawab terus lah.